Have you ever read an English story and, understood every single word, yet felt like you still missed the entire point? Have you ever listened to native speakers tell a tale and sensed there were hidden jokes, maybe subtle emotions, or just a deeper message that completely flew right over your head? And what if there was a path, like a way to truly unlock that magic, to connect with stories on a really profound level rather than just decoding a sequence of words? Today, we're diving deep into these very questions, and yeah, we are absolutely committed to showing you how you can unlock that magic. You're listening to The Deep Dive, brought to you by Crystal Clear English Podcast, Learn English the Crystal Clear Way. So our mission today is to unpack something incredibly fundamental. It's about human connection, about learning, storytelling. Specifically, we'll explore why understanding narratives in English can often feel like trying to solve some kind of cryptic puzzle, even when your vocabulary is actually pretty solid. But don't worry, by the end of this deep dive, you'll be equipped. We're talking clear, practical strategies to move beyond just the words and truly grasp the heart, the humor, and the hidden meaning of any English story.
Absolutely. That's spot on. Stories are just so much more than, a string of vocabulary words. They're like vibrant windows into different ideas, emotions, whole ways of seeing the world, really. And for many learners, that disconnect, knowing the individual words, but missing the essence, it can feel incredibly isolating. It can even be frustrating. Our goal today is to show you how to bridge that gap, making your journey to fluency feel less daunting and honestly infinitely more rewarding.
Okay, let's get into it then. Why does this disconnect happen? Why can a seemingly simple tale, maybe like that story of a boy finding a bird with a broken wing, why can that leave some English learners asking, okay, but what really happened?
It's actually a fascinating combination of challenges. And like you hinted, it goes far beyond just, struggling with new vocabulary.
Beyond just the words themselves. Okay, tell me more. What else is going on?
Well, for starters, stories are incredibly rich with unfamiliar vocabulary, absolutely. But also with idioms and figurative language, things you just can't take literally. You'll encounter phrases that make absolutely no sense if you try to translate them word for word. For instance, in a story, if someone says the sky was blue, well, it might not just be about the color, right? It could be setting a mood, maybe calm, maybe optimism. Or an idiom like raining cats and dogs, you can't actually picture animals falling from the sky. These non-literal meanings, they're everywhere.
That's a great point. It reminds me that words carry more than just their dictionary definition, don't they? They have these implied or emotional meanings. Connotations, is that the word?
Exactly, connotation.
Right, and grasping those subtle emotional undertones seems absolutely crucial for truly understanding what's going on. Like if someone says he trudged home versus he walked home, the feeling is totally different, isn't it? Even if the literal action is basically the same.
Precisely. And another significant barrier, maybe even bigger sometimes, is that stories are deeply, deeply tied to the culture they come from. They're culture bound. Native speakers, they implicitly understand cultural references, historical events, social norms, things that might be completely new to you as a learner. Like you hear once upon a time and boom, you instantly know it's a fairy tale in Western culture. But without that cultural context, the story can lose its punch, its humor, maybe even its fundamental meaning.
Huh. Almost like an invisible curriculum that native speakers just soak up from childhood, that cultural distance.
Oh.
Yeah, that could truly hinder you from understanding the underlying message or the character's motivations or even getting the jokes. How do you even learn something that's invisible?
Well, that's where active engagement and some specific strategies come in. But before we get to the solutions, let's talk about listening for a second. When you're listening to an English story, native speakers often seem to speak incredibly fast. Right?
Oh, definitely. Like lightning speed sometimes.
Yeah. And that real-time processing, it demands immense cognitive energy. Your brain is scrambling, trying to decode pronunciation, figure out where one word ends and the next begins, recall vocabulary, piece it all together, all at lightning speed. It's a heavy mental lift.
And it's not just the speed that throws learners off, is it? Even if the speaker slows down, there are other tricky things happening with the sound.
Absolutely. Beyond just speed, there's the crucial element of how English is actually spoken naturally. You've got different accents, shifts in emphasis, intonation, all of which can completely change the meaning. Plus, words often blend together in what we call connected speech. Like gonna for going to, or how did you eat yet, can sound like did you eat yet.
Right, yeah. It all mushes together.
Exactly. And contractions, they omit information, making it even harder to distinguish individual words. So many learners, maybe like someone trying really hard, they try to understand every single word.
Which sounds logical.
It does, but ironically, that focus on every single word can lead to understanding almost nothing of the main idea. You miss the forest for the trees, essentially.
Wow, that's a powerful insight. Okay, so that's listening.
Yeah.
What about the written word? What are the common puzzles people encounter when reading?
Reading. Written English presents its own unique set of challenges, definitely. You've got complex sentences. Sometimes the passive voice gets used a lot. Extensive pronoun use can be confusing. He, she, it's. They're referring back to something pages ago. Our understanding suggests that the hidden logic of English sentence structure, how ideas are linked and sequenced, that can differ vastly from your native language. It's often this underlying blueprint, more than just the vocabulary, that can feel like a puzzle you need to solve.
And I guess even with a good vocabulary, if you hit a paragraph with a lot of unfamiliar words all at once, that density can just make it really hard to grasp the overall meaning, right?
Exactly. Overload.
And let's be honest, English grammar has its fair share of, let's call them exceptions to the rules, which can be incredibly frustrating. It feels like learning a game where the rules keep changing on you.
Totally. And then finally, beyond all the linguistic stuff, the words and the grammar, there's a really significant emotional hurdle: the fear of making mistakes. This often leads straight to a lack of confidence, maybe some embarrassment, which then, unfortunately, limits your willingness to practice and, well, progress. It's a common barrier, but thankfully it is surmountable.
It truly is. But it can create a vicious cycle, can it? Demotivation kicks in, you hit what feel like plateaus where you're not improving, and if you're stressed or tired, all of these things profoundly affect your ability to learn, to form new memories. Language learning isn't just a cognitive exercise, is it? It has this deep psychological component.
Absolutely. Mind and body are connected in learning.
Okay, but the good news, though, the really good news, is that these challenges are absolutely surmountable. We've actually put together a comprehensive step-by-step guide to help you master story comprehension, whether you're reading or listening.
That's right. We're going to break it down for you. And we're starting with something incredibly crucial, something that actually has nothing directly to do with grammar or vocabulary lists.
Oh, okay, I'm intrigued. What's that?
It's all about your mindset. Seriously. Before diving into any specific techniques, cultivating the right mental approach is paramount. It's step one. Remember that mistakes are a natural part of the learning process. They really are. In fact, our own observations from working with thousands of learners suggest that the analysis of mistakes, like really digging into why you made them, is far more impactful for long-term retention than just getting the correction. They're not failures. Think of them as valuable diagnostic tools, as stepping stones to success. You should absolutely encourage yourself to take risks with the language. Try things out.
I love that perspective. Be kind to yourself when you stumble, right? This is a journey, it's not a race. And it's also vital, I think, to identify your core motivation. Why are you, the listener, learning English? Is it for travel, a career boost, connecting with loved ones, maybe just intellectual curiosity? Connecting to that deep intrinsic motivation makes learning infinitely more engaging and helps you push through when things get tough.
And on a practical level, setting SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, that is incredibly effective. So rather than just saying, I want to get better at English, try something specific like, okay, this week I will understand the main plot and characters of one short English story, maybe around 500 words. This makes your progress visible. You can actually see yourself achieving things, and that dramatically boosts confidence.
Absolutely. And always, always celebrate achievements, no matter how small. Maybe keep a little journal, jot down new words you've learned or stories you've managed to understand, looking back and seeing how far you've come. That is such a powerful motivator. It really reinforces all your hard work. Okay, mindset sorted. Now let's sharpen those listening ears. What's the key to hearing the whole picture when someone's telling a story?
Right, listening. Effective listening means actively engaging, not just passively letting sound wash over you. Before you even press play on an audio story, try setting a purpose or a goal. What are you listening for this time? Is it the main idea? Specific details about a character? Maybe the setting? This simple step helps prime your brain. It gets it ready to receive the information more efficiently.
So you're suggesting focusing on the big picture first, rather than getting bogged down trying to understand every single word. That makes sense. It must reduce that cognitive load you mentioned, that feeling of being overwhelmed.
Precisely. It's a top-down approach, and it's much less overwhelming. And start small. Use short audio clips first, then gradually increase the length as your listening stamina improves. Build it up. And know that it's perfectly acceptable, even encouraged, to pause at times or re-listen to sections. That's not a sign of weakness at all. It's actually a valuable problem-solving technique for any language learner.
Okay, and how do we tackle that connected speech you mentioned earlier, that blending of words?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Train your ear to identify phrases or clusters of words, because that's how native speakers often group them. For example, instead of hearing, "How are you?" you might hear something more like, "How-rah." Listen for those patterns. Try making an educated guess based on hints from the story or the surrounding context. And crucially, don't let one unknown word derail your overall comprehension. The goal isn't word-for-word translation on the fly, it's understanding the message, the
So
gist.
this really means active immersion, doesn't it? You can't just passively hope it sinks in.
Exactly. Actively immerse yourself. Listen to English music you enjoy. Watch movies and TV shows, maybe start with subtitles, then try without. Explore podcasts on topics that genuinely interest you. Using varied and motivating resources keeps things fresh and engaging. It makes the learning process feel like a natural, even enjoyable part of your daily life, not a chore.
Okay, great tips for listening. Now, switching gears to the written word. How do we decode a text effectively and, read between the lines?
Right, reading. First off, activate your prior knowledge. Think about what you already know and try to build some background information related to the story's topic or setting before you even start reading. So if it's a historical piece, maybe a quick look on Wikipedia about that era. It can bridge potential cultural gaps and set you up for much better understanding right from the start.
Good idea. And what about all those unfamiliar words you inevitably encounter? Do we stop and look up every single one? That can really slow you down.
Yeah, it really can break the flow. So no, not at all. Instead of stopping constantly, teach yourself to guess at words. Try to decipher the meaning based on your existing knowledge and, importantly, the surrounding context. That's a vital skill. Now, if you do decide to look words up, try using student-friendly definitions, ones that give you clear examples of how the word is used in a sentence, not just a dry synonym or a complex technical definition.
That makes sense. I also find that breaking down really complex and challenging texts into smaller, more manageable chunks is incredibly helpful, like paragraph by paragraph, and paying close attention to word order, sentence structure, and syntax, those building blocks, seems crucial for understanding that hidden logic you mentioned, how ideas are linked together in English.
It truly is the blueprint of the language. And practice developing the skill of identifying the main ideas versus the supporting details. Learn how to locate specific facts quickly. A great exercise is, after reading a section, try to summarize it in your own words, just a sentence or two. This forces you to focus on and retain the core principles, ensuring you've truly grasped what's most important.
I'm also a big fan of read-aloud techniques, either reading aloud yourself, maybe quietly, or listening to an audio version while following along with the text. It really connects the written words with their spoken form, enhances your interpretation, and helps you absorb the natural rhythm and flow of the language.
Definitely. And finally, maybe the most impactful thing for reading. Make extensive reading a regular habit. Choose materials of interest, novels, articles, blogs, whatever genuinely excites you. It shouldn't feel like homework. Reading extensively exposes you to different writing styles, expands your vocabulary naturally, and improves your comprehension skills over time, almost without you realizing you're studying.
This deep dive is really just scratching the surface of how you can truly master English stories. And hey, if you're finding these insights valuable, please take just a moment right now to follow and subscribe to the Deep Dive and the Crystal Clear English podcast. You really won't want to miss our future deep dives and all the amazing content we have planned to help you learn English the crystal clear way. Okay, let's move on to building that essential language toolkit. How do we make new vocabulary actually stick? Not just learn it for a test and forget it.
Yeah, building the toolkit is essential. For vocabulary, our experience and a lot of research actually tells us the single most effective way to learn new words is in the context of a story or article. Seeing the word used naturally is just more effective than isolated memorization from lists. You see how it fits, how it works with other words. It makes it much easier to remember and, crucially, to apply later yourself.
And maybe using visual aids, like images or even real objects if possible. That can create a stronger memory link, right?
Oh, absolutely. Visuals are powerful.
And when you learn a new word, maybe explore its opposites, antonyms, and words with similar meanings, synonyms. Kind of builds a network in your brain. And here's a tip I find powerful. Actively use the word immediately. Like, right away, put it in your own sentences, try using it in a conversation. Make it part of your active vocabulary, not just something you passively recognize.
That's key. And for intermediate learners especially, the focus should probably shift a bit more towards understanding vocabulary patterns, how words naturally combine what linguists call collocations, or things like make a decision, not do a decision, or heavy rain, not usually strong rain. Understanding this lexical grammar synergy is what gives your English that truly natural feel. It unlocks those nuanced meanings you might otherwise miss.
Okay, vocabulary covered. Now grammar, the big G. It doesn't have to be intimidating, does it? How can we make learning grammar less, well, daunting?
Definitely not. The key is to make grammar learning fun and interactive. Seriously, use games, role plays, find examples related to your interests, maybe song lyrics, movie dialogue, sports commentary. When it's fun, when it connects to something you care about, it sticks. You retain it so much better than just drilling abstract rules.
And for those really tricky concepts, like maybe phrasal verbs or the passive voice,
break grammar concepts into small, digestible steps. Don't try to learn everything at once. And use visual aids here too. Charts, diagrams, color-coded examples, anything that makes abstract ideas clearer and more concrete. And crucially, when mistakes happen, because they will happen, it's just part of learning. Seek constructive feedback. Don't just get corrected. Try to understand why the correction is necessary. Normalize mistakes. They're not failures. They really are just part of the process, those stepping stones we talked about.
Makes total sense. Okay, so we've got mindset, listening, reading, vocabulary, grammar. How do we keep the momentum going? This is the long game, right? How do we stay motivated and keep growing?
Exactly. Language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. So to combat boredom and stagnation, you absolutely have to mix up your learning routine. Use diverse resources. Language apps, yes, but also English TV shows, podcasts you like, novels, articles. Keep it fresh. You could even try what some people call stress lessons, intentionally practicing your English in slightly challenging, maybe high distraction environments, like ordering food in a busy cafe, or asking for directions in a crowded place. It pushes your comfort zone and builds real-world fluency.
That sounds like a great way to put your skills to the test in the real world. And connecting learning to your passions, I imagine that's also key for staying motivated long term.
Oh, absolutely essential. Connect English learning directly with your hobbies and interests. If you love cooking, follow English recipes online. Watch English cooking shows. If you're a sports fan, watch games with English commentary. Read sports blogs in English. This makes learning feel less like work and more like just enjoying your life. But in English, it integrates it seamlessly.
And consistency is key, right? That old saying holds true here. Even just 10 minutes a day of focused speaking, writing, or listening helps build strong learning habits and fosters that automaticity we want. It's about building a regular routine, not just occasional heroic efforts that quickly fade.
Couldn't agree more. Consistency trumps intensity over the long haul, and regularly seek feedback. From teachers, sure, but also from peers, language partners, or even friendly native speakers if you can. Actively applying English skills in everyday activities like simple things, shopping, ordering food, builds confidence bit by bit and shows you the real-world value of what you're learning. Maybe join language exchange programs or study groups online or in person for that real-time practice and shared learning experience.
And finally, just kind of surround yourself with English, Change your phone language, listen to English music in the background, watch movies, read books, maybe even try thinking in English during the day. The more exposure, the more natural it all becomes until it almost feels like a second skin.
Exactly. And one last crucial point. Don't forget self-reflection and self-care. Seriously. Manage your stress, get enough rest, maintain your overall well-being. If you're constantly stressed or tired, your ability to learn effectively and form new memories is significantly hampered. This holistic well-being is really foundational for effective comprehension and sustained progress. You need to be in a good state to learn well.
That's such an important reminder. It's easy to forget the basics when you're focused on learning. And always remind yourself of the many benefits of learning English. Maybe it's improved job prospects for you, or easier travel, or just access to a whole universe of diverse information and cultures online. Keeping those benefits in mind can provide powerful motivation when things inevitably get challenging. It keeps your why front and center.
Absolutely. So Look, the journey to truly understanding English stories, it's rich, it's rewarding, it's not always easy, but it's definitely worth it. By preparing your mindset, sharpening your listening skills strategically, decoding written text with these new tactics, and continuously building that language toolkit, you really do equip yourself with powerful strategies that will transform your learning experience.
Yeah, just like maybe a character like Alara in that story, The Whispering Willow, learned to listen beyond just the words to find a deeper understanding. You too can cultivate a richer, more intuitive grasp of stories in English. Each new word you understand, each complex sentence you manage to unravel, each subtle cultural reference you finally get, it all adds a new chapter to your personal story of success and growth. So embrace the process, bumps and all, celebrate every small victory along the way, and continue to explore the vast and wonderful world that English stories have to offer you. Your journey to comprehensive understanding is really a testament to your dedication and your growth. And if you enjoyed this deep dive today, please remember one last time to follow and subscribe to the Deep Dive and the Crystal Clear English podcast for more insights and lots more amazing content coming your way. Thank you so much for listening to the Crystal Clear English podcast.
Learning another language is like becoming another person.